It is time for Draft Jam week number 2. We had a good start to the season last week against Mr. TJP, getting a big win in our first game of the season. And now we play against T-Row Price, someone we played against a bunch of times on this channel in week number 2. This should be a good one. He's got a lot of powerful threats on his team that we need to watch out for. If you are excited for today's video, make sure to like and subscribe if you have not already. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before Pokemon Champions, hopefully. So every subscription helps a ton towards hitting that goal. Let's talk about the matchup real quick. T-Row's team is on screen now. He's got a lot of powerful Pokemon, a lot of powerful threats. Roaring Moon is one of the best Pokemon still left on this draft board in this kind of tiered down metagame. It is a Pokemon I've used in Autumn Seasonal and really come to love. Obviously, I didn't have the best one last ride where I was using it, but it has been very, very good in Autumn Seasonal for me. It's going to be a great Pokemon here. The main thing to watch out for in this team that's really interesting is his Terra Captains. Thundurus Therian is going to be one of the better Terra Captains we've run into all season. Not really much to say there. Nasty Plot Agility. This Pokemon is really, really good. But he's got two other Terra Captains that are pretty interesting here. Shaman is a Terra Captain I've used a few times in the past. It's a really, really good just defensive blanket check to kind of anything you need it to be, with the fact that you can run Rest Natural here just to kind of wall something in perpetuity. And then Chandelure is a very interesting breaker, one that this team does struggle with a little bit actually, so something to keep in mind there. I expect the team to be really kind of dominated in the builder by Thundurus, though. I think Thundurus is the Pokemon that can find so many opportunities against my team to set up and win, so I expect T-Row to kind of focus in on that. The typing he goes for could be anything between Fairy, Electric, Ice, anything, honestly. There's so many different typings that can work depending on the set that he wants to bring. The main thing he wants to do is get out of that flying typing, because that'll make it so Greninja can't OHKO with Ice Beam with our set that we have. So those are the main things I'm looking for in this battle. I expect Roaring Moon to have a really big impact on this game. And then Thundurus Therian, the goal is to keep that Pokemon from finding free setup opportunities, because if it gets a free Nasty Plot, it could be a problem really, really quickly. Let's get into the team that we're bringing for this battle. We're bringing Choice Scarf, Protean Greninja for the second week in a row. This set is really, really good here for a few reasons. One, it guarantees that we have the fastest Pokemon in the matchup, given that our 122 speed tier outspeeds everything on T-Row's team. Only thing that we expect realistically to outspeed this in this matchup is Agility Thundurus Therian. The coverage is pretty obvious. U-turn. I like U-turn mainly because it gives me a consistent turn 1 against something like Roaring Moon. There are Pokemon like Rotom Wash, Quillfish, and Clefable, which make it difficult to lock in and move with the choice set. And then the coverage move, we don't have Surf here. The only thing that Surf would really be used for is Mamoswine, and it takes a decent amount from stuff like Ice Beam and Dark Pulse anyway. And hopefully we get our Stealth Rocks up to make it so that that Pokemon takes enough damage to make it so we don't require that. But Ice Beam, obviously good for Roaring Moon and Thundurus. Dark Pulse, really important for that Jirachi and non-Terra Chandelure. Also does damage to Rotom Wash specifically, which is one of the common switch-ins. And then Sludge Wave here is pretty important for not just the Clefable, but there's a good opportunity that Thundurus Therian is Terra Fairy in this matchup. So that gives me a good way to check that Pokemon as well. Ogerpon Cornerstone comes back to the team with another Swords Dance set. This is just going to be full offensive, no Trailblaze nonsense. Our goal here is just to deal as much damage as possible to our opponent's team. 110 is a pretty good speed tier as well in this matchup. It checks non-Scarf and non-boosted the entire team basically outside of the Roaring Moon. And Ivy Cudgel and Power Whip is a difficult combination for my opponent to switch into. They do have the Jirachi, which can switch in, but then it has to 1 take a knockoff, and 2 I have a lot of good immediate checks to that Pokemon. So Ogerpon's role here in this battle is to Swords Dance if an opportunity presents itself against something. Those opportunities aren't really there for the most part. We can really force them in certain situations, but oftentimes we're just going to be clicking Ivy Cudgel and Power Whip and hopefully knocking off a key item off the Jirachi. Uxie Citrus Berry is a Spit F set this week. This has Encore for the Thundurus Therian. One of the things that we ran into in mocks when we're trying to get up rocks is that this Pokemon would take a lot of damage just trying to Encore the Thundurus Therian, which is obviously a problem because we need to prevent that Pokemon from straight up winning the game. So we have Encore Uxie on this team as a way to kind of prevent this from being setup fodder. But this is our rocker. Rockers, as I said, really important here to 1, deal damage to Mamoswine to make it so Greninja can check that Pokemon. And 2, Rocks, just like this is going to be a longer game plan for the most part. T-Rose team has Clefable, Quillfish, Rotom, Jirachi. Like this is a team that is going to rely a little bit more on its kind of defensive pivots to get in and around its team. So Rocks will be very important. Psychic Noise and Knockoff are kind of the other 2 moves which help kind of break those defensive kind of situations my opponent will have. I want this Pokemon to also be able to manage Clefable to a certain degree. That's why Encore is also important here for Calm Mind Clefable. And Psychic Noise and Knockoff really help kind of control the kind of HP of that Pokemon. Because while like it has been power creeped out a little bit in terms of like what its HP can do and its defenses can do, Psychic Noise and Knockoff just make it so much more effective, this team of being able to handle that Pokemon. Corviknight here joins the team. Leftovers. This is a defogger as well. I do expect that Quillfish, if it comes, will be spike stacking. So having access to defog allows us to win the Hazard War in the mid game, which will be very important. And I go for Iron Head as my coverage move of choice here, just as a way to deal damage to Clefable. I expect if any of Pokemon on my opponent's team is going to stand, it'll likely be the Clefable because Body Press is so kind of obvious here. I'm kind of content to take U-turn damage on Pokemon like Roaring Moon and Mamoswine to get in more advantageous matchups. And have the Iron Head for something like the Clefable to try to keep that Pokemon's HP as low as possible. We have 2 Terra Captains this week, so let's get into the first one. Terra Dark King Gambit, Citrus Berry here. The moveset and the set for King Gambit is as standard as always, chat. There's not really much to think about with this one. I'm going with the Citrus Berry because, one, I don't expect to Terra this Pokemon in this battle. It is Terra Dark just to maximize damage if need be. But I expect this to want to come in a few times on Pokemon like Jirachi, Clefable, and Quillfish. And keeping its HP high is nice because one of the things that can happen is, I don't know if Thunderstarian can afford a Focus Punch in this, or Focus Blast on this battle. And 2, I do think that there's going to be an opportunity for that Pokemon to come in because of that, to just keep attacking through. So I want to keep the HP on this Pokemon as high as possible. I don't need any of the damage for the Calyx, like Swords Dance will do enough for me there. So keeping this HP high as a Pokemon that wants to come in on stuff like Quillfish, Clefable, Jirachi often, even Shaman as well, depending on the Terra. And making it so the HP is high enough so something like Roaring Moon or Thundurus can't really come in and check it is going to be really, really key here. Then the main thing here, the main star of the show, is Calm Mind Comfey. We have Encore here as well. I wanted to have multiple Encore users to prevent that Thundurus and the Clefable from really getting out of hand setup-wise. But this is a CM set with Terra Ground. Terra Ground is really nice because we need to move for Jirachi and Quillfish. And then CM Draining Kiss, Terra Blast is going to be big here. We have Rocky Helmet as well as a way to help check the Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon is not something that this team checks very well. We have obviously the Corviknight, which can switch in. But if it just Dragon Dances twice and just like doesn't care about Body Press, then we can be in a little bit of trouble. So having Rocky Helmet here as a way to punish U-turns is going to be nice. As well as the fact that we don't really need the HP healing on this Pokemon because of the Calm Mind Draining Kiss aspect. So we can use our Rocky Helmet for a little bit more defensive purpose against Roaring Moon. So that's our team for week number 2 of Draft Jam. Thank you to, I think it was OG Albina, Willow Rush, Dietite, and then Kaz. I think we were all the support this week for this battle. Let's get right into it. All right, time for the battle. Tiro has brought Fairy Thunderous Theory into this battle. He's brought the Clefable, a lot of stuff that we basically expected coming in. We're leading off with our Choice Scarf Greninja because that outspeeds the entire team, and this is the easiest way for me to get into this game consistently. There's a lot of different ways that Tiro could lead this one off. The main one that I want to protect against is like a random Choice Scarfers. And, you know, get some early chip on some things. This is one of those weird ones in that I feel confident in my offense, but I don't feel confident in my defense. This is kind of one of the leads I expected, and this is really why I wanted to lead Choice Scarf Greninja, is I really felt that there was a good chance that the Roaring Moon would lead, and I'm going to just go for the U-turn here. We see no booster, so this could be some sort of Choice Band or Choice Scarf set, both of which we outpace here. And we do see the swap out early. So no booster, that's good information to get early. And we get to see what our friend goes into. He goes into the Rotom Wash. That'll be some good information on some chip here, just to see what type of damage this is doing. That's not a lot. I always feel like I should be getting the, what's it called, the stupid thing. What's it called? The HP bar. They can actually tell. There's a few things to note here. I could go something like the what's it called? Like the Ogerpon Cornerstone and Power Whip. Power Whip would kill here. This looks to be some sort of defensive set. The problem is if this is Rindo and I get burned, then I kind of just don't have a lot going on with that Pokemon. So I want to get my Stealth Rocks up. That's a big priority here. Rocks are very, very nice here, and I do have Encore to prevent like random setup shenanigans from going on. And this does punish something like Thunderous Therian from coming in if it's not heavy duty boots. This is very defensive, it looks like, so that's good to know. There's probably a slow Volt Switch coming out. We can take those all day, and that's going to be what, 52 HP? That's embarrassing. Embarrassing damage from our hero, our hero Rotom Wash. So this just looks to be Fizz Def, which is perfectly fine. And out comes the Jirachi here. This leftovers, okay. This could, I don't know what this could be. This could be interesting. The fact that it revealed leftovers means, I mean, it could be setup. Setup seems really not good here for the most part. I honestly just want to remove the item, and even if it is setup, I have Encore here. I assume Tiro just wants to get his own rocks up, realistically. So, yeah, in comes the Stealth Rocks. So I can just get the knockoff here and remove this this item early. I don't know how much information that's generally gonna tell me about this Jirachi. This could be defensive. This definitely has some defensive aspect to it, right? So we see rocks. This is probably just a very, very defensive set, all things considered. There's probably nothing too complicated to worry about here. I can go into something like Corviknight now and just get a slow U-turn off. Obviously, this risks random Thunderbolt from this set, but given what we're seeing, I don't think this is going to be... I expect something like Iron Head here, honestly. I don't expect Thunderbolts to come out here. Or, like, at the very worst, we see a U-turn come off. So, we both trade some rocks early. That's kind of nice. We get into this game a little bit. We're not going to have to reveal too much, probably, on our Corviknight here. We do reveal Pressure, which is, I guess, doesn't really matter. Doom Desire. Okay. What is... Alright, Doom Desire I know has changed over the generations. Chat, what does that one do nowadays? This is... I know this is just future safe, but, like... Yeah, so that means Doom Desire means we need to be mindful of our steel types here. I'm always getting a slow U-turn off here, which is nice, so I'll just go for that. My opponent does elect to U-turn out, so I can get my own, kind of get something else in here. I assume Rotom Wash is going to want to come back in, and I can go into my Jirachi, actually, and just pressure that Pokemon there. Or in comes the Thundurus. Okay. So this is going to be heavy-duty boots. Good to know. Good to see that come out early. I kind of think my best option here is to go into... No, it could easily have Focus Blast, right? I think I'm going to go Greninja here. The reason I want to go Greninja, right, is I know that this is heavy-duty boots. I know this is heavy-duty boots, and this does effectively prevent a setup turn here. My opponent could go for the Terra here. That's obviously a possibility. This is a very risky 50-50 for them to play into early. There's no reason for them to play into this, right? As a 50-50 early, so I can just U-turn and kind of take my positioning elsewhere. Because, like, bringing this in, I'm choosing to force the 50-50. Now, the problem is this one goes a lot more wrong for me if I get it right. Or if I get it wrong, than it does for Tiro, obviously. But, I can just go into something like the, what's it called? I can go into Uxie after the fact and just take a Doom Desire if I have to. And he's just going to withdraw. That's kind of what I was kind of expecting that, to be honest. I don't think Tiro's really looking to deal with that. And he just goes into this. Okay, so I can go into kind of anything I want here to take this Doom Desire. And I think I want to take this as an opportunity. I'm pretty sure I can just go into... Like, this is just going to be a pretty easy... go into Corviknight and U-turn off of this thing. Again, to eat this Doom Desire. So, a good sequence to kind of get us out of this one. We've put a lot of pressure on this, what's it called? On this Jirachi and this Doom Desire. We should take a decent amount, but yeah, we're at still a pretty good HP. We're going to want to get our HP, I think, a little bit higher. Excuse me. Apologies. My voice is still a little bit sore from getting back, just getting back from Toronto over the weekend. We'll just roost up here. Psychic Noise, that's good play by Tiro's part. So now my, I am not able to roost here. But I will be able to get still the momentum advantage that I'm looking for in this sequence, because I will go second here. And they'll be able to put some pressure. So Doom Desire will come out. That's fine. I could always sack this Pokemon if I have to. Obviously, you know, it's not always the best choice in the world, but I do get a free Dark Pulse here on this turn. Though I don't really want to. This is interesting, actually, because I don't want to give Thundurus a free turn, right? Because I think Tiro knows I'm Choice Scarf at this point. That part, that is very obvious right now. Ogerpon Cornerstone can kill this with knockoff. The thing is, the rocks are up, and I'll have to lose my thing for that. Yeah, this is an interesting sequence here. What are the odds this thing has a physical move here that really punishes me? I'm gonna say unlikely, actually. I'm gonna go into King Gambit here. I think it's very unlikely you have a move to specifically punish this. And you probably do want to play around the Kowtow if you can at all possible. So I have a lot of options I can go for here. I'm just gonna go for Kowtow because it's the most obviously powerful one. And this does allow me to stay in, right? Like, this does prevent Thundurus Therian from coming in, and that's what we really have to protect for in these situations. Is Doom Desire is basically setting up for powerful Thundurus endgames here. Maytay comes out. That is the Rotom. Yeah, I was gonna say that is a Pokemon I had seen before. It's gonna take a lot here from this. Bob, that is at least a Twicko from this point. And that is Rocky Helmet, last item. Okay, cool. That is good to note. The question here that is pressing is, are we in a position where we have to give up the Corviknight because of Doom Desire at this point? How much should Uxie, how much would I expect to take from Uxie here? I don't want to do that if I don't have to, right? I guess Uxie's not taking a lot, and I do have Citrus Berry. I might as well use my Citrus Berry if I can, right? Let's just go Uxie. I need to save Corviknight if I can, right? It's good against, it has utility against Mamoswine. There's a good chance I might want to defog all these rocks away anyway at some point soon, so... and then the Will-O-Wisp just comes out here. So we'll get burned. That's not going to really do anything in this battle, honestly, all things considered. Excuse me. And Doom Desire, we'll do a decent amount, but... yeah, I'm going to get that HP back with the Citrus Berry. And now Rotom Wash is pretty close to dead here. Yeah, this Pokemon's going to struggle to come in now the rest of the battle here. I kind of just want to knock here. There's no real reason for this to stay in. Something like Jirachi could come in. Yeah, I'm just going to knock. I don't know. I don't... like, this Pokemon's goal was to be a general switch-in and a nuisance to Pokemon like Rotom, and Encore was there to prevent Thundurus from setting up on it. So if I get rid of the Rotom, and if I get a free item here, I mean, they go Jirachi, whatever, it is what it is. Yeah, that is a Jirachi. I mean, that's fine. It doesn't matter too much. I can get rid of the Jirachi as well. That part's good too. Wow, that's funny. That doesn't even kill, I don't think. The next one. They'll get a free Doom Desire off. That's fun, I guess. Let's just knock up again. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather just take the Doom Desire at this point. If I get rid of this, like, Doom Desire from being a threat the rest of the battle, then I'm okay with that. So, we only have one more Doom Desire to catch with this build. And then we should be perfectly fine after that. We'll see what my opponent wants to go into here. It could be Thunderous, though I do expect it to just be Roaring Moon, honestly. I feel like Roaring Moon is like the obvious answer to go into here. Yeah, this is the most obvious Roaring Moon I've ever seen in my life. The problem is at 172 HP, I mean, we're not gonna get any information out of this, unfortunately. I mean, this thing just like straight up just nukes every possible Uxie set that I could have here. Doom Desire is up for one more turn. Yeah, so they Doom Desired the turn that I killed them. They kill me, and I got one more turn. So I think I'll stay in a knock here, right? Because if they go for the Dragon Dance, and I can stay in and I can threaten Ice Beam. I break the item. There can't be Dragon Dance, right, without the booster. Yeah, like that just wouldn't make sense. Yeah, this is just choice of some variety. So you lose the Uxie, but Uxie provided a lot of value here in this battle. Like a lot of value here in this battle. That just we can't understate it enough just how good that Pokemon was in this battle. Now it's time to go Greninja. We have to pressure this thing out. I mean, like, I think you could stay in here. And expect me to trade. But it's so easy to just switch. I'm going to just U-turn out. And worst case, I just sack the Corviknight. I'll accept sacking Corviknight in this spot at this point. It is what it is. The only problem now is something like the Thunderous is starting to become a problem. It will find situations to get set up here. I do have to be mindful of that. But at the very least, if my opponent stays in, I get some powerful U-turn damage off, and I can Sludge Wave. I can Ice Beam. Does Ice Beam even matter? Not really. Alright. Tira's going to withdraw. Fine. We'll take that. Professor Cycle. This is a new Pokemon. It's a Clefable. And it's probably Magikarp Clefable. I don't know why it would be Boots Clefable. And back out comes my guy. I mean, I'll take going into Corviknight here. I do underspeed this Pokemon, which is like a little funny a little bit funny actually. Not that it like matters too much, obviously. But the idea was to be able to slow U-turn off this thing. But we'll just take the Doom Desire, and we're at 10 HP. We do underspeed this, so we will lose our Pokemon in theory here. Depending on what our good pal Tiro wants to do. I think given that I can't do anything with this, I think I'll just accept the U-turn. Because if I U-turn, this will be... I'll have one Pokemon down. I'm trying to think of, like, are we at a position where... Like, Ironhead's doing a lot of damage to this Pokemon now. And I'm not really taking a lot of damage elsewhere, so... Let's just get a quick U-turn off here. And he just goes for the Moonblast. That's fine. Unfortunate, it is what it is. We've kind of lost a few Pokemon here, but... Chat, this is good news for us. 2 allies have fainted, which means that this Pokemon is starting to get in trouble of just dying to my Pokemon. And I'm honestly in a position where I can spam Sludge Wave, actually, against this team. Like, if I go into Greninja and I Sludge Wave, I mean, it's not quite killing. Do I have to go into Kingambit and go 2 allies for the Ironhead? I have a lot. I mean, I can get a lot of this HP back with, so this will do what? Like 120, it'll put me to 170. It'll put me back to decent. I can leverage this HP. I have a lot of speed here. I think it's time to leverage my Pokemon in a way in which they give me a lot of advantage. One of the things that's really nice here is we're close to winning with Calm Mind Comfey as well, which is really nice. And Rotom just dies coming in here, so If my opponent stays in and just like Moonblast, put me into citrus range, they just lose their Pokemon. And they just have no switch into this. Because then I can then switch my move to Kowtow. And then you really don't have a switch into this. They really don't have a switch into this anyway. Which is really, really nice. Getting a Swords Dance up against something will be super fire later in the game. There's not a lot of opportunity to do that, but surely we'll find some at some place. But I do think this game is going to come down to Calm Mind. Comfey having a really, really powerful endgame here at some point. Where we set up with that Pokemon is kind of yet to be seen. Maybe in front of the Thundurus, but that could obviously be difficult. Alright, so this is very, very fast. What is it? Very, very fast Clefable, actually. Because I am outspeeding like 8-speed Clefable or something. So this might just die. Okay. Do I care about HP on this? Do I even Sucker Punch? Sucker Punch seems stupid, right? I might as well just take another attack. I have the Iron Head, though, in case they heal up. I might as well just take another attack. And then they go for the Healing Wish. Okay, so that's going to bring Rotom back into play. Clefable. There's nothing really beneficial to healing with. It's literally the Rotom that they get to Healing Wish back here, which is, like, good, I guess, but not, like, not game-changing, I don't think. Comfey is still in a position where it's really, really effective here. Yeah, I don't know what... I think you have to go Rotom. I don't know what else you're getting the value out of here by doing this. I guess you can go Mamoswine first and then get value elsewhere. Mamoswine is actually pretty good to go into here. My Earthquake switch-ins are a little limited, all things considered. And then you save your Healing Wish for later. They go into Mamoswine. Sucker Punch is dealing a lot. And I can Terra. I could Terra. I don't think I need the ground typing, actually. Alright, so I think the one thing I'm looking at here is I don't actually need the ground typing for anything. Yeah, they're just going to go Rotom. That makes sense. This is a good Pokemon to get healed back up. Because defensively, it does a lot here for my opponent in this matchup. They'll take some Rocks damage, which is fine, and they'll get a Volt Switch off here. Question is what do they go into if they Volt? What do I go into now? Do I just accept the Willow on this? Probably not, right? Like, the priority on this is still very good. The Volt Switch, I could go Comfey. We're also getting into territory where Scarf Gren looks really, really promising. Scarf Gren looks less than promising, actually. Yeah, because I don't have a water move for the Mamoswine even. It would be bad to throw that away, though. I think I don't see the benefit in that. I could just go Comfey. I'll go Comfey. This could be a little risky, but I think it's a little risky putting one of my potential win cons at risk here. I probably should have gone Greninja, but I think I'm fine with doing this. Volt Switch comes out, we get more information, and then, like, I can get this HP back. Is kind of where my head's at least right now. Though I think this could go wrong. But like something like Mamoswine comes in, it can like potentially to a KO, but I can Draining Kiss, and then that Pokemon's chipped into range of the Greninja. Yeah, I guess the problem is I didn't have a good sack there. I could have I really should have maybe just stayed with King Gambit. King Gambit's like utility was running out so quickly there that if I just stay in an attack, I get like a pretty favorable kill. Thundurus time. Okay, so Sludge Wave is definitely coming out here. If I had to guess, right? Like, there's no way you don't Sludge Wave here on this turn. I could Terra Ground and Calm Mind here. I haven't used my Terra yet. It could be Grasslant, but Grassland's not doing a lot. And this is Terra Fairy. So Terra Blast from Fairy is doing a lot. But if I get to +1/+1, I'm in a good spot. Problem is if you just Terra Blast... Oh no, this is a Specs Calc. You can't be Specs here. If I Calm Mind, I'm not dying. Then a +1, I gain a good amount of this back. I think I'm going to Calm Mind, actually. This might be a little bit aggressive. But I think I'm just going to Calm Mind here. Because if you Sludge Wave, you Sludge Wave. You'd have to Terra Blast Fairy here. And I live any hit, you'd have to Terra Blast Fairy, and I'm going to get a lot of this HP back with the Draining Kiss. And if you do any sort of setup move, if you Agility here especially, I'm in a great spot, yeah. There we go. Now I'm in a great spot because I have priority on Draining Kiss to start gaining a lot of this HP back. And I'll have access to Sucker Punch as well after, which will be really good. So let's just go for the Draining Kiss, gain a lot of this HP back. Up to 275. And just a nasty plot. We're at +2. And now nothing they do even from Modest kills me, right? Yeah, I mean, especially at full HP, right? Like, I'm just going to be able to heal this all back off. So let's go for another Draining Kiss. Back up to full, and we'll be able to kill this Thunderous. So Thunderous will be out of the way. We'll have used our Terra to do it, but Psychic will definitely live that perfectly fine. Yep. And then we'll just go for another Draining Kiss, get rid of the Thunderous. So big Thundy T is now out the way. This was obviously one of T-Row's biggest threats in the matchup. And honestly, does this Pokemon just kind of smoke? I guess it doesn't smoke here because you can just go Rotom after. And I do need to save the priority on the priority Draining Kiss on this Pokemon for the Roaring Moon. Still for the late game, that's going to be pretty important, obviously. But can I just... I mean, if T-Row goes Rotom, do I just stay in? Hydro Pump. +1's doing like 50. Can I just stay in and take some more HP back? It'll get me to full. Chat, it'll get me to full. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right move. Maybe that's a throw move. Thing is, I still have the combination of Ogerpon and Greninja left. Oh, and Tira's going to withdraw. Interesting. Saves that Pokemon for later. And goes into his Rotom now. Okay. Is this good for me? This is what, 24 now on this Pokemon? That is Spidef Rotom if I've ever seen one. But the thing is, that Pokemon is now in range also of priority on my, what's it called? That Pokemon's also in range of priority on Comfey. So Comfey priority is looking really, really good here. What is the damage for Mamoswine for the priority? Like 26, I guess. Yeah, that's a lot of HP. Hydro Pump, is it? That has to be a scam to go for it, right? That has to be a scam. I'm just going to go into King Gambit. I think King Gambit at this point has done its job. There's nothing more King Gambit can do in this battle. At this point, Comfey has kind of broken through one of the main threats. At this point, it's a priority threat. So we need to treat it as such, and we can kind of get away with a little bit of a Hydro Pump action here. Yeah, Inkin's a Hydro Pump. We do dodge. That's unfortunate. Really sorry for that one, T-Row. I assume that was going to give that turn a little bit more life. Yeah, that gives that turn a lot more life for me. Oh my god. Dude, that's so dumb. I feel so bad for T-Row on that one. There's just no reason for that to happen to him in that spot, because now this makes this unbelievably difficult for him. I just drop a Kowtow Cleave. I don't care if he Willows. That's fine. As I said, I have priority options now around the team to just rely on here at this point. And like this, I guess this is a little bit unfortunate. This doesn't kill, but I mean, I'm okay with this, right? At this point, I kind of just need to sack this Pokemon off. Get rid of it. I could have Suckered there. Sucker gives me more value, I guess, technically, but I mean, you could pick, I don't know. And maybe that's like technically more optimal to Sucker Punch this in a range of Draining Kiss. But I don't think that even puts it in a range of Draining Kiss, given the damage it was doing earlier. I think it might just be out of range, so it's probably not something I can count on anyway. I mainly just want this Pokemon to die, because then I can go into a wide variety of options. The problem now is... The one thing I haven't considered is Mamoswine's really problematic now, I think. Wow, okay, that's kind of funny. That's really not funny at all, man. That's so diabolical. That's crazy. What the hell, man? I might just be the luckiest player, honestly, to ever do it. Chat. I think that's what this comes down to. Oh, my Mamoswine endgame is a little shisty right now. I'm not gonna lie with you. I'm not gonna lie to you, chat. This could be a problem. This could be a problem. Sucker Punch. Okay, he's gonna do something else. Pain Split. Epic. For a little bit of chip. That's fine. I mean, I'll Sucker Punch again. Why not? The Sucker Punch should kill. Realistically. Goodbye. Okay. Rotom Wash is down. Mamoswine could come out here. Very possible that Pokemon comes out here. I think it's Greninja all the way here. Greninja all the way. Not having Surf is so tough here. I really, I'll have to go back and really consider why I don't have Surf on this set. That's looking like a potential really big miss here in this spot. The thing is, this has to be Scarf to go wrong, though. All right, let's go into Greninja and just Ice Beam here. Ooh, okay. Thunderous, okay. I mean, there's no way this doesn't kill, right? Like, surely not. Like, there's no way Ice Beam doesn't kill here. So, we're going for Ice Beam. What Ice Beam also does is protect my typing as well. Goodbye, Thunderous. Oh my goodness, chat. I'm not feeling the most confident I ever have about a Pokemon endgame. I will say, I felt better about endgames before. I'll give you that much. In comes Barbecue. Okay, Mamoswine I think is technically the Pokemon I wanted to see. That is Boots Mamoswine. Okay, Boots Mamoswine is actually fine, right? Because I know I now outspeed... Wait, Boots Mamoswine is fine, because I know I outspeed with, what's it called? Ogerpon. I don't die to Ice Shard, do I? No, I don't. Do I need to save a sack? Let me think through this a little bit. Do I get rid of Comfey? No, I keep the Comfey. I think I just Ice Beam this. Alright, that's a crit. That's maybe annoying. I don't think it matters too much. I think we should be perfectly fine here to pull this one out, because now I can just go... Now, because I know it's Boots, I can just go Ogerpon Cornerstone. I guess we go for the Power Whip. Power Whip is the accuracy moment. We got to hit our Power Whip here. It's not like I deserve to hit this Power Whip necessarily, but we might as well go for it here, chat. See if we can pull this one out, because I don't think, given that chip, I don't think Cudgel kills, so I have to go Power Whip. He could switch here also. Is very possible. But I guess Cudgel does put this in range, actually, of... No, but he can Ice Shard me, and I just lose my Comfey to Ice Shard, so... Oh, I maybe should have thought about this one a little bit more. I maybe should have Cudgeled here, actually. No, but this puts it in this puts that in range of, what's it called? Of Draining Kiss as well. I think this is still fine. Okay. Are you Scarf or Choice Band? If you crunch, I mean, the problem is if you crunch, there's not much I can do. This is not good, chat. I don't know what to do here. I'll just cudgel. Ironhead. Not the move I expected him to go for, to be honest. Not the move I expected him to go for. I think I do lose this one now. Man, I really didn't think he was going to go for that, because, like, you just died to the Rocky Helmet. I guess, like, I've concealed the Rocky Helmet. I should have played to that, but I guess we'll Power Whip again. Ice Shard. Yeah, I don't know. That was I knew that's just a not, I don't want to say not locked in. Yeah, just not fully considering all the aspects of that end game, because there's no way, I guess, he's predicting that full sequence of turns at the end with my Rocky Helmet. Because I'm thinking if I just, like, if he just straight up attacks, I lose this Pokemon. There's not much I can do, right? But unfortunately, I think we're going to lose this one in a situation where I maybe shouldn't have. Though I do think there's still would have been an opportunity for Tiro to get out of it. He's going to obviously make the right play and just Icicle Crash. Though, to be fair, I did get a little bit lucky in this end game to get this one. He's just going to go for the Earthquake. We take an infinite amount of damage from that. But that is unfortunately going to spell the end for week number 2 against Tiro. This one was a little close. I think I was okay with how I played the majority of that battle in a 1-0. But unfortunately it feels like there was a sequence I could have found there at the end to really get that one. But overall, that's Pokemon for you. I got a little lucky with some Hydro Pump misses. It is what it is, though. We'll get right back to it. Next week, we got a big game against Tony, and that should hopefully get us right back on track with the win. We'll see how that one goes. But yeah, good game to Tiro. He played that one very, very well. And that's all I have for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and do all that fun stuff. We'll see you all next time. And of course, have a wonderful day.